Yeah, I can.
Yep.
Yes.
.30 having arrived, I'd like to call the regular Plan Commission meeting for the City of Columbus for Thursday, October 15 to order. Let's take the roll, please, Matt.
Lewis.
Here.
Ryan.
Here.
Here.
And Monday.
Here. Quorum of 5, okay. All right, not my job to count, I guess. All right. Okay, this meeting has been properly noticed according to state statute. All right. Item number 4 on the agenda is to approve the agenda. I'll entertain a motion to approve or amend.
Pipefront will make a motion to approve the agenda.
Second.
All right, we've got a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? All right, this is our agenda for the evening. All right, item number 5, approve minutes from the September 10th Plan Commission meeting, which are attached to your packet. I will entertain a motion to approve or amend.
Pipefront will make a motion to approve the minutes from 9/10/2020 Plan Commission meeting.
I'll second that.
All right, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by aye.
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 Opposed? All right. Minutes from September are approved. All right, item number 6 on the agenda is citizen comments. Nobody's in the room. Is there anybody online that wishes to comment? Okay. Sure. Yeah, this is for general comments, so if they have a general comment, they can mention, but if it's anything item related, I'll wait for that. Did you receive any general comments by email or message? Okay. All right, nothing to be written into the record for number 6. Moving on to item 7, unfinished business. None's on the agenda. Commissioners, are you aware of anything that needs to be brought back up? Hearing none. We will move on to item 8, new business. Item 8A is the review and recommendation to council regarding the certified survey map for Philip and Sheila Warthen at 146 East Mill Street.
So,
Yep.
go through the staff report. Thank you, Lisa. This one is a fairly simple CSM. We've had a few of these over the years where it's basically just a boundary adjustment. In this case, there is a new owner of the former Marine Credit Union, actually F&M Bank here in town has purchased it. As part of their due diligence, they realized that there was an encroachment on their property from the property at 146 West Mill. So their solution was to essentially do the CSM to adjust the boundary, basically shifting the boundary line north and essentially having a transaction with the property owners at 146 West Mill. My review Really, this all meets zoning code because both properties are zoned Central Business District 1, so there's 0 lot line setbacks. So really, there's no concern at all from staff, and staff is recommending approval. So, and the property owner is on the phone if you have any questions for them. But with that, I guess I'll take any questions if there are any. But this one's, as I said, seems fairly straightforward to me, so.
All right, commissioners, any questions? Nobody nobody online. What, was this just a sale to adjacent and then,
Yeah, but
Okay.
I'm sure there will be some sort of deed transaction. I'm not really sure how that's
Yeah.
going to work. I just know that they're adjusting the property line. I'm not really, I don't really know what the details are on that end.
okay, yeah, that's just
I guess
curiosity on my part.
I do have one quick question. You said it was zoned CBD1 in its current use of single-family residential. Is there any issue with that or no?
No, because it's an existing use, so it's not really changing that. Something I think when we get into our zoning code and reviewing our zoning code, how we classify some of that, I think needs to be addressed, because we do have a substantial amount of area around the downtown that's also zoned CBD1, and whether or not that makes sense, or having something in place where, because, somebody lost their house and it might be considered non-conforming use. There's a process for approval. It's not like it would be a no, but it's just something to be thoughtful of, because there are a lot of single-family houses in the downtown area, so.
And this is down the hill from the Marine Bank or the property, right? It's down there.
Correct, yes.
I just, my only question was, I thought in the downtown district, you can't live on the first floor. Is that only in certain?
Correct.
Okay.
You cannot, but if you're an existing use, you're grandfathered.
Gotcha.
So that's
I
where.
just want clarification. Thank you.
And technically, you can do it with a conditional use permit. So we do allow dwelling units with a conditional use permit. So that would be the way, if anything ever happened, that we would approve it. So.
Thank you.
I don't have anything further. If anybody online have anything further?
Nothing for me, Ryan.
I also don't have any further questions.
Okay, so the action item at hand is to make a recommendation to the council, whether we recommend that they approve or not. So I will entertain that motion now.
Pipeline will make a motion to recommend to council regarding the certified survey map for Philip and Sheila Worthen at 146 East Mill Street to be approved.
I'll second that.
All right, I have a motion and a second to recommend for approval. Any further comment? Hearing none, all those in favor of recommending approval signify by aye.
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 Opposed? All right, recommended to
Yep.
council for approval.
This will go to council then on October 20th, so this coming Tuesday. We already have a space for it on the agenda, so.
Great. Okay,
Can I ask a question?
I assume this is Sheila?
Yes, this
Okay.
is Sheila.
Yeah.
I see it's zone CBD1.
Yep.
Is that, we always thought we were just zone commercial.
It
What,
is a commercial zoning. It's just the commercial zoning for the downtown area.
okay. Okay, then the other question I have, I mean, we're thrilled to be gaining half, we'll be owning half the block, which is fine with us. And, if we want to put another driveway approach in there, do we have to come before the planning commission again for that?
No, that's a staff level review, and you can just email me and we can talk through that, okay? Right now I'm filling in because we do not have a public works director, so I'm helping out with driveway permits, so, okay?
Okay, I don't have any other questions then.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Yep, no problem.
All right, let's move on to 8B, the review and make recommendation to Common Council regarding the certified survey map for the business name is 1045 LLC at 210 Dick Street. So extra numbers in that one.
Yeah. So,
Matt, want to introduce this one for us, please?
yes, I'd be happy to. The property at 210 Dick Street, which is, you probably better know as the Pick and Save, right now is under contract to be sold to 1045 LLC. As part of their purchase of this property, they will be, they want to further subdivide the property into 2 extra lots that you'll see in the proposed CSM. I'm sharing the screen right now, just for reference, this is the parcel. One of the issues that, from a design perspective is right now, when you see the arm that sticks out to Dick Street, technically that's a flag lot. By code, flag lots are prohibited. However, this CSM technically isn't creating one, it's just further dividing one. So during my review, I did make that distinction. And I don't, I guess I necessarily don't have an issue with what that is doing. But here, let me go back to my packet and kind of walk through some things. So when I looked at our ordinances, when you look at the CSM ordinances, when you look at section 90, 212, and 213, they've addressed the statutory requirements and the local ordinance requirements that they are expected to meet. Furthermore, they came in and added more items to the CSM upon my request. One was mapping the floodplains, showing the wetlands, more accurately showing the building setbacks, which they didn't have in their original CSM. So they've already, been accommodating to make sure they're meeting our ordinances. The other issue that in my review is looking at the design standards. I mentioned that one of the concerns was that this is a flag lot that's being further subdivided. As I said, it's not creating a new flag lot. So from the staff perspective, I guess I don't have a terrible concern over the design of the layout. The other issue that has been discussed at the staff level was technically these parcels don't have access to the street. And when you look at our code, we just talk about has to have frontage onto a public road. And technically, it does have frontage onto a public road because all these parcels front onto 16. They do not have access. So this is very similar to the north side of the road where you have the Walgreens and the strip center and the clinic that all have James Street addresses. They have frontage, but they front 16, but they don't have access. So, based on the precedent that has been set and how, and the way our code reads, I did not have any concern over the frontage. Obviously, when we had the Taco Bell project came through, the concerns over this private driveway arose from the Plan Commission discussion, and at the staff level, that's something we're very well aware of, is the private driveway that goes in and out of here is not accommodating, and it needs to be improved. However, the thing I would say to that is what they have submitted for their land division, generally it meets our codes and staff supports it, and we support having alternatives that improve the ingress and egress, at which time we know what the use actually will be on these properties if they get developed. because obviously depending on the use will dictate traffic. We've talked with the 1045 LLC, which I thought Brianna was going to be on the phone, and that's why I was surprised I didn't see her. Brianna Cotton from 1045 has been my contact throughout this, and she's been good to work with. They've acknowledged the fact that they would have to do a traffic impact analysis when they have a project to actually address the traffic concerns. So that's, I guess, really my high-level overview on this. I know there's going to be questions, so I guess why don't I just turn it over to the commission for questions.
I have a question that maybe just going back a step. Can you enlighten me and tell me what a flagged lot is, please?
So when you go back and look at, this is the outline right now, right? So this little arm that goes to get access out to Dick Street, technically that's considered it's used to get access usually. So flag lot is, you have, so basically if you turn this kind of north, this would look like a flag. So that's kind of how they got the name.
Yeah. It's got a flag.
I was gonna, yeah. So that's the general definition of, and usually in zoning codes, they require a maximum amount of street frontage, whereas we don't. We just have a maximum lot width. So, there's a clear distinction there because, you could have, in this case, you have plenty of width, but, so you can meet the zoning code for width and depth even though you have a flag lot. Whereas if your code was written a little differently, this wouldn't meet the requirements because, most requirements would say if you have to have a 100-foot wide lot, it says you have to have 100 foot of frontage is what they'll say. So this wouldn't meet code because, it's probably a bad example because it fronts on two streets, but generally that's the concept behind flag lots.
Yeah, and those rules vary from community to community. Some communities allow them if the flagpole is the width of what could be dedicated as a street. So, if, for instance, a development like this, right, that would then give the community the opportunity to have that dedicated as public right-of-way. So it eliminates flagpole on flag lot.
I just never heard of the term before. Thank you.
Oklahoma's a giant flag lot. Anyway,
Yes.
other questions or comments from commissioners? I wonder if we should go around the horn on this, just because it's a little awkward to work with folks on
That's fine.
online. So, Paul, did you have anything further? I mean, we'll circle back, but
Yeah, circle back if you would. At the moment, I have nothing.
okay. All right, you guys online. Who did we have online?
Eric and Katie.
Oh, okay.
Here.
Katie, do you have anything you'd like to comment on?
No, not at this time.
Eric?
None for me at this time as well. I'm just kind of paging through here on the maps, but
Sure.
not currently.
Okay. All right, and I've got a couple of questions. I've been thinking about that whole area. I live near there, and we've all been there with the traffic in and out. I do appreciate that the sounds like from staff level there will be a condition that any development will require a traffic impact analysis. Has any just sort of planning level traffic impact analysis been done, right? We don't know what kind of development specifically will go on there, but if you picked something either typical or very light use, I would suspect that even a light use would have a fairly significant impact at that location. Has something like that been done?
This is where I wish Jason Letha were here tonight. I know Rupert Milky has went out and conducted traffic counts for that private driveway. I don't have those right in front of me, but he would be the one that would be leaned on to determine what improvements should be made, depending on what traffic would be brought by any new development. So it would really be the city engineer that would be leading that.
Okay. You mentioned kind of in your introduction, or at least I thought I heard you mention that there are alternatives depending on what kind of development might go in there. Are you at liberty to talk about
No,
those?
well, no, I guess what I meant by that is, if it's like a fast food restaurant that's going to generate a lot of traffic versus something like if a tax accountant put their office there and, like the improvements would be somewhat scaled to, and that would get back to Jason's analysis on how many trips do we expect it to generate. So the solution would ultimately fit whatever is going to be developed there. That's what I meant by that. If that makes any sense. If I'm explaining, yeah.
Oh, okay. I mean, I understand that, but my big concern is that, and maybe this just gets offloaded onto the potential property owner, and maybe it's a limitation to them on what can go there. But if you have a potential large traffic generator, you don't at this point have any alternatives other than to use the access point that's given, and can that access point really deal with the issue? I realize this is a lot of if then and buts, but
The other thing that has been discussed is having a second driveway that would essentially cross lot. Probably my assumption would be somewhere in front of the Pick and Save that would cross a lot 1 that would connect to Robbins Road, which could easily be done. And theoretically speaking, would alleviate some of the traffic. I think the local traffic, as they were leaving Pick and Save, would probably just drive around the back of the building. I mean, technically you can do it now. The issue is the driveway here that connects through for Pick and Save is usually for their freight. And I get the sneaking suspicion as people are driving around to leave, they get to this point and they're just like, well, why would I double back now when the driveway's right here? So having that driveway in front, I think would help alleviate some of that traffic concern. That's something we've discussed already with 1045.
okay.
Matt,
Yeah,
I'm sorry, we can't, I know that I think you're pointing with your laser pointer.
yes.
Yeah, if you could use the mouse to kind of indicate what you were talking about then.
Yeah, no, you're right.
thanks, Katie.
Thank you. So I was saying there is a driveway behind the Pick and Save that's for freight traffic. And what I was saying is if there was a driveway that would connect over to Robbins Road from in front of the Pick and Save store, because I get the feeling that as people are leaving the store, once they kind of get to this point, they're not going to double back and head back to Robbins Road when they're already right there. That was kind of the point I think a second driveway would help alleviate traffic as it's leaving the Pick and Save. And not as many people would be coming out here. And quite frankly, more of the local traffic might even go the back way into the Pick and Save if that was an option.
Right, thank you.
Yep,
Matt, could you bring up that tax map again, or the overview?
sure.
Is Robbins, how far north is Robbins Road improved?
Well, that's something that could always be required. I'm trying to zoom in a little bit so you can see it better. It gets. Oh boy, that's here. Why don't I do that? Oh, this is not my computer. Shoot. I think the end of it is pretty much almost aligned with where the building comes out.
Okay.
But if you want, I can just. This would be just as easy.
And it sounded like you were going to mention that could be a condition of, having that extra access, that the applicant would improve the roadway further north if need be, but it's also nice to know where is it now and how much of a burden might that be.
So yeah, as you can
Yeah,
see, kind
okay.
of the end of the road is right about here. So, I mean, I don't think, if the driveway came straight across here, I don't think necessarily that this would, we'd have to put new road to get to the end of that road, if that makes sense. Or there, from the city's perspective, I think they could just tie right into it. So.
Okay. Last question from me, and then we'll kind of circle around again. Was there any discussion at staff level about requiring that flag to become right of way?
I guess not. I would say not really in any serious capacity. We had a proposal actually that's similar previously, where somebody wanted to create a lot 3, as you see it on the CSM, and one of the options and one of the things that prevented the development from occurring was the city's concern over the access. And one of the options at that time was to basically have the current property owner dedicate that land to the city, and then the city would bring it up to a city standards, and then basically special assess it back to all those properties who benefited by that project. And being that bringing a city street up to putting that up to a city street standards was more expensive than just them doing it themselves, that was obviously something that was not favored at that time. So it's been discussed. I think I've discussed it kind of in passing with the property, the 1045 who has this under contract, but I have not. It hasn't been approached as a viable solution as of right now. So but it's out there. It's been a thought. It's been but it's just. It is what it is.
Yeah, and I realize there's pros and cons of it. The con is the cost. The pro is that you have a lot more latitude from the city standpoint for access control and how the improvements get made.
Yeah, correct.
So, okay, I just wondered if it had
No,
been
it's fine.
discussed. So,
Trying to.
all right, Paul, did you have any follow-up questions?
I guess I do. I just from what I understand, I always heard that the flag portion of this was property of Quick Trip, if you will, and there was an easement that went back there.
No, it's always been property of the person who owned the Pick and Save parcel, and Quick Trip has an easement to get to their property.
So is that the vice versa? Okay.
Correct.
I was just wondering because it seemed like somebody has to have an easement to get on one of the two properties.
Quick Trip is the one that has the easement.
Okay, thank you.
All right, Katie, do you have any follow-up?
Nope, I don't have any follow-up. Thanks.
Eric?
Nothing further.
Okay. Okay. The last thing I'll ask is this, I do think that the condition that a traffic impact analysis be conducted is pretty critical. I understand the reasons behind, not doing one now because there's, who knows what the use will be. I guess I would, how is that going to get enforced? I know sometimes things like that go right on the face of the plat or right in the document itself. That way a purchaser of one of these lots, when they look at the certified survey map of the property they're purchasing, it's written right in there. It's not buried in some city document somewhere, that that they're not privy to until they've gone and purchased the property. So,
Yeah, I, for some reason, I'm looking through my email right now. I think we suggested that they put that in the notes.
Okay.
And I want to say they had some actual, rationale to why they wouldn't do that.
why they would or why they would
Why
not?
they wouldn't.
Okay.
And I think it was at the request of their surveyor.
Okay.
So let's see if I can find that.
Yeah, assuming that this is not going to get some kind of developer's agreement that would be recorded as a separate document. You know, if that's kind of the only condition that's potentially going to get attached to this, it actually makes it pretty easy to have as a note. I'm scanning through here. I'm not seeing that it. Made it on here, but.
Do I have a... Well, I found an email where I asked for that note to be on there, so let's see.
Okay, but you've had a conversation and they're amenable to that?
We've had the conversation and they indicated that their surveyors doesn't want to put anything on the, because I put, add to the notes when lot 1 and lot 3 are developed, the traffic impact analysis will be required to address traffic concerns. And I can't find the email right now where she said what the rationale was.
Well, I'd be willing to wait a minute to hear what the rationale was.
I just, okay. Why is this not? I can't seem to find it right now.
Well, again, to my point, I mean, I've been, personally, in my professional career, I've been through too many situations where, somebody got themselves into a purchase situation and they're like, well, I didn't know we had to do that. Well.
No, I don't think it's, if you make it a condition, and unfortunately she, for whatever reason, hopefully everything's all right with her, but because I thought she was going to be on this call tonight.
Yeah.
And I'm a little surprised that she's not, just based on my interaction with her. It's no, I mean, not to be rude, but I mean, she knew what time the meeting was, so I mean, but I don't think it's outside of your authority to say that you want this shown on the note somewhere on the CSM. I mean, I've seen other CSMs that have notes on it that are related to, things for the site. So
Right.
I don't think it's outside of your power to put that on there at all.
Right.
So
Because the council can choose to not pick that recommendation up,
yeah.
right? Or they
Correct.
can choose
They
to pick
can-
up that recommendation and then the applicant can
They can come in and argue
decide
on
whether they want to,
Yeah.
comply or not, right?
And one thing, since this is a little bit more complex than the traditional CSM, I think we're putting it on the agenda for both the cow and the council, so if council doesn't feel comfortable, they can have a further discussion at the cow and then have 2 meetings to approve it. Because I do realize that this is, everybody in town goes here to shop at a
Right.
certain level, and everybody in town knows how the access is. So, this is something where, the lane division here, I guess necessarily, doesn't necessarily change anything there, right? I mean, you're just drawing new property boundaries.
Right.
And really, and to be quite frank, the only way that driveway will ever get improved is until there is some development there where we have the leverage to say, no, nothing's going in there until you fix it. So it's almost a necessary evil that, I shouldn't say it like that, but I mean, it's almost necessary that this gets, that this is the first step to actually giving us some tools to actually fix this.
Right. We can,
So
one could look at it as a win-win situation, right? The
Well, no,
property owner gets a division and
no,
the, and
I
the
do
city gets
think
the
it-
opportunity to, yeah.
I do think it's a win-win.
Yep, yep.
We get some infill development in an area. We get, I think there's a lot of benefits to development happening there. But, as we've said before, and we'll continue to say, is until the driveway is safe, we're going to be very cautious. And
Right.
I think that just makes sense when you're talking, especially in such a safety issue. So,
Yeah, and I strongly believe that having it on the face of the plat avoids arguments later with some future buyer, so. There, that's my, probably more than 2 cents.
I just wanted to chime in and say I agree with Raya.
okay.
All right, any other comments or discussion? All right, hearing none, I'll entertain a motion for a recommendation to council.
Pipeline will make a recommendation to the common council regarding the certified survey map for 1045 LLC at 210 Ditch Street approval.
I'll second that.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? We'll need to put, I have a comment, we'll need to put in the motion if we want that note to go on the face. If we just make recommendation as is, then it goes in as is.
And just so you know, this is what I put in the email. As I said, when lot 1 and 3 are developed, a traffic impact analysis will be required to address traffic concerns for the private driveway to Dick Street. So if we would just want to keep it consistent with that, I mean, I can just put that in the motion. Or some
Okay.
variation of that.
All right, so Paul, if you want to keep your recommendation as is, great. If you want to amend it to include that email, great. It's up to you. It's your motion.
I will amend it to reflect the email that Matthew Schreiber shared with us.
Second.
Okay, final discussion. All right, all those in favor of recommending to council with the amended note signify by aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, great. Moving on. 8C, staff updates.
So this will be brief. So after the last meeting, we were talking about posting public notice for the solar array ordinance. Well, shortly thereafter, Columbus Journal ceased to exist, and until the, I want to say, September 29th council meeting, we didn't have an official paper. So I thought about posting it before council approved it, but I thought there's no hurry to this. So essentially, this is going to come back next month once it runs in the paper. So be looking for that. And then the comprehensive plan, I still need to organize some sort of joint meeting between the plan commission and council. I've been kind of behind on some other tasks, and it's still there, and hopefully you'll see something shortly on that. So that's those. I just wanted to update that those things aren't falling by the wayside. It's just, unfortunately, I don't have more to update you on other than that. So I thought that's all. So.
Are you thinking that joint meeting will be on a regular plan commission meeting night or a
I'm
cow
going to
night?
use a doodle poll to see,
Oh, okay.
you know, if we can do it on a different night, or I might use some of the nights that, you know, that we're scheduled to meet. I'm going to look, because I'm going to have to look at other, you know, I'm try to find either plan commission nights or other nights where committees don't meet, because obviously Paul and Katie are on several commissions and committees along with their council duties, to try to find time that works, hopefully for everyone, is my goal. So,
Okay, cool. All right. Short and sweet.
yeah.
Any other business, commissioners? If not, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Pipe Run, I'll second that.
All right, I have a motion and a second. All those signify by aye.
Aye.
I
Opposed? None.
11. All right.
We are adjourned.